Hello there, Internet. MegaMogwai here, and I got yet another MTG Arena video for you guys today. Today we got a bit of a spicy brew ready for you, built around Inspector GLARB. I don't even know where to begin with this deck, because it's weird as hell. but I swear, if you follow me through this deck tech, you'll understand that it does actually make sense. I promise, I think. What we have here is a GLARB Calamity's Augur Soul Tie build designed around Reenact the Crime. Yes. We are playing Reenact the Crime. One of the reasons that I felt interested in playing this card is because there's been, we all know that we're in the midst of a discard meta. Like, I'd argue that like 30 to 40% of the decks that I queue into are some sort of variation of mono black discard. So I've always enjoyed playing Reenact the Crime as a fun surprise counter to discard centric strategies. Some discard decks that I run into on ladder are actually, in my opinion, poorly built because they run, it feels like 75% of the deck is cards that discard cards. And I feel like that's too much and they go overboard, right? So I do think that, while there's a lot of net decking going around, there's also like a lot of poor deck building happening within the archetype as well. But because some of these decks are running way too many discard cards, Reenact the Crime becomes a very reliable counter to that. And that's one of the things that really compelled me to try this, because I really enjoyed this, and as a card, I designed a deck around it not that long ago that was a pretty alright, it was my first attempt at it, but this one I think is definitely an upgrade to that. And one of the key pieces of this deck is a new card from Bloom Barrow that I wanted to experiment with, and that is the Wishing Well. The Wishing Well is a 4-mana artifact that is very unique because as a card, I thought it was very interesting, and I'm going to explain what it does here. So when you play this artifact, you tap it, right? Whenever you tap it, you add a coin counter onto it. So it's like every time you're tapping the Wishing Well, you're throwing a coin at the well. You can only do this at sorcery speed, by the way, so you cannot tap this anytime that you want. So keep that in mind. But if you tap this at sorcery speed during your turn, you put a coin counter on it, and then when you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the number of coin counters on Wishing Well from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. That's a lot of words, all right? Let me explain it really simply. You tap this, you put a coin on it, and then you look at your graveyard. Is there any instant or sorcery that has the same mana cost total as the amount of coins on the Wishing Well? Well, you get to play it for free. That's the Wishing Well in a nutshell. And why do I think Wishing Well works really well with Reenact the Crime? Because it allows us to basically tap for either 2 coins or 3 coins and put stuff into our graveyard so we can potentially chain it with Reenact the Crime. But wait, there's more. Once we played the first Reenact the Crime, as we continue to add the coin counters on the Wishing Well, eventually we're going to reach a point very early on in which we have 3 coin counters on it and we're going to tap for 4. As we tap for 4, we can play that Reenact the Crime that we played from our hand earlier that is now sitting in our graveyard, and therefore we can go for something like a Confounding Riddle, for example. Send 3 of the 4 cards to our graveyard from the top of our library, and then tap the Wishing Well and do it the other way around, essentially, and play the Reenact the Crime for free and bring something back. It just makes Reenact the Crime more cohesive as a game plan and more consistent. And designing a curve that plays well into the Wishing Well was definitely a challenge, but I think I really found the proper distributions for it. But before anything, we're a Reenact the Crime deck. We have to be able to bring some big stuff from our graveyard onto the board to make this kind of play worth it, right? Otherwise, we're just combining all these cards with all these convoluted things for no reason. So here are the lineup that we have chosen for this. We have 3 copies of Breach the Multiverse, which makes us both mill 10 cards, and then I bring a creature from both graveyards onto the battlefield. We have 2 copies of Atraxa, the Grand Unifier, which can potentially be cast from hand in this deck thanks to 2 copies of Cavern of Souls, though the vast majority of the time this is not the way we want to do it. We want to get her onto the board earlier, potentially through Breach the Multiverse. We also have Virtue of Persistence, which can be treated as removal early on, giving us more 2-drop or 2-mana plays than we initially think. But Virtue of Persistence is there to be brought back with Reenact the Crime potentially, and have us,
It's essentially an enchantment that the longer the game goes, the more value we'll get out of it, and eventually we'll manage to win the game, especially with Atraxa in the mix. We also have a one-off of Vraska's Betrayal Sting. This can be used to deal with the board, while also giving us a card draw engine that proliferates, and that's what I really like about this card. For the 0 loyalty proc, we can proliferate with this, which can allow us to add counters onto our Wishing Well, to accelerate the process and find and be able to tap for the spells that we want to be tapping for. Even in a pinch, in a dragged out game, we can use Vraska alongside Wishing Well to keep proliferating and getting it to 7 coin counters so we can play Breach the Multiverse from our graveyard, right? So there is that potential there. And it's overall a very reliable Planeswalker that can come in and protect us against aggression, but also give us something to threaten the opponent with in more reactive matchups. As then we have a one-off of Daring Wave Rider. This card, this incorporation may seem really weird, but it actually makes all the sense if you think about it. Because here's a scenario that happens a lot. I don't want to be playing 3 copies of Atraxa, because if I have too many Atraxas, I'm going to be drawing them, they're going to be dead draws, and it's going to really hinder the consistency of my deck. So I'd rather have, instead of 3 Atraxas, 1 Daring Wave Rider, because I can play this on turn 6, 1 turn earlier than Atraxa. I can play this much easier, and I can play this to recycle removal from my graveyard. So it can be a very solid 6-mana play in this deck because of the spells that we're running. But the important thing is, if I go for Breach the Multiverse and I don't hit Atraxa, I'm milling 10 cards. So in that case, there's still a good chance that I have milled a Daring Wave Rider that I can bring back onto the board, and then as I bring back to the board, I can trigger a Reenact the Crime that I've milled with the Breach the Multiverse, which allows me to replay the same Breach the Multiverse that I played on that turn. So with Daring Wave Rider, because we're playing 4 copies of Reenact the Crime, a lot of times it leads to the ability for me to go for Breach the Multiverse twice on the same turn, which is why I really like it as a one-off in this build. And we have Malicious Eclipse to give us AoE board wipes, very good against rabbits, very important against aggressive decks in general, very important card that we can potentially recycle with the Wishing Well as well. I said well twice there. And then Confounding Riddle and Curate give us potential card draw, but also counter spells as well. Removal, single target removal, countdown can be utilized with Wishing Well upon entry as well, which is nice against aggressive builds. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the deck list right there. We got 3 Restless Reefs, can be played in conjunction with Reenact the Crime in certain scenarios with the Wishing Well. And we have a very complex land distribution because we really want to be able to cast GLARB on turn 3, because GLARB on turn 3 allows us to surveil for 2. Like if we have GLARB, we can start playing lands from the top of our deck, and then we can surveil to send stuff to the graveyard and enable GLARB into Reenact the Crime 3 on 4 as well. So keep that in mind. Also a great stat line for this card as a 2/4 with Death Touch. This is a very, very powerful 3-drop. 3-drops that are like this, of like specific 3-color combination nature, are generally stronger than their counterparts. I'm referring to like other 3-drop creatures. So GLARB, you know, really makes us want to be playing that green source of mana, which we can also later use for Atraxa as well. We have a total of 12, which I found like the right number to make it so that I can cast GLARB reliably. But that also forces us to run a lot of pain lands, which can be a bit of an issue against aggressive decks, and a lot of tapped lands as well. So keep that in mind. It's a complex land distribution. We have 26 lands, but this is the one that has been working best for me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the deck list right there. I'm actually happy. I legitimately think I am getting better with the deck text. Like, I'm not rambling as much. I'm getting more straight to the point, because it's a very complex deck to explain, and I still managed to do so other 9 minutes. So I'm definitely getting there. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. This is a pretty fun idea that I had, and I was really excited to share. And yeah, I'm still going at it. Whether I'm feeling great or I'm in an emo phase, you know, like, it's hard to be like feeling awesome all the time when your views are kind of in the gutter. But I'm gonna keep pushing and keep doing what I do, and I am gonna be very grateful for those of you who do watch. So yeah, love you. Have a soul day. Thank you for sticking around. Hope you enjoy the games. Let me know if there's anything about the video that you think I can improve as well. I'm open to that. And I really appreciate it. I really do. So yeah, have a soul day. Enjoy the matches. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, here we go. Let's reenact some crimes with your boy GLARB. And let's hope and pray we draw it.
This deck is super fun, but if you don't draw Reenact the Crime, it can be tough. But that's why we got all the surveils we have. This is a very promising hand, actually, because we have a 3-lander, and thanks to Cavern of Souls, we're able to cast GLARB potentially on curve. While also running Cutdown and Malicious Eclipse in the opener. Like, if we face a mono-red deck, for example, like, we're very well equipped. We're going to lead off with the Restless Reef. Even though we couldn't able to cut down immediately. Squirrels, huh? I have the cut down, but that's just gonna give them another food. I could take the damage, and that thing is vulnerable to a Malicious Eclipse. So I'm gonna take the hit because I think I can get value out of this. Look at that, look at that, look at that, though. Will you look at that? I'm gonna drop the Cavern of Souls. I'm actually gonna choose Frog. And I'm gonna go for Malicious Eclipse. Wipe him clean. Not triggering the upon death effects because they are exiled instead of dying there. As they're actually playing this. The Knights of the Sweet Revenge. This card allows them to tap their food for mana. That is a little bit spooky. I'm gonna go and develop GLARB. We haven't developed the land yet, so if we have a land on top of our deck, we can actually play it from there. That's not the case though, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna be playing this Undercity Sewers because we need that third source of blue for Reenact the Crime. And I kind of just want to keep that Bitter Triumph in there. Because that Bitter Triumph can be played alongside Reenact the Crime potentially. They have all the mana in the world. But it's not very relevant if they don't have stuff for... Oh! That's what I'm talking about. Underground Mortuary. Surveil the Virtue of Persistence. And now... Reenact it. Getting a Virtue of Persistence in so early is amazing. They have green though, so they could run enchantment removal, but it's very limited at this point. We're gonna keep GLARB as a blocker and to potentially tap for his ability as well to perfect our card draw. I'm gonna put a stop here at the beginning in case I want to do this at the beginning of that. Whenever one of your creatures dies, you create a fruit token. It only triggers one turn. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, target player mills 2 cards. Are they gonna mill me with a Virtue of Persistence? Oh, they're going in. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice 3 other non-land permanents. If you do, return a creature card from graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Okay, they go all in. Are they gonna sack those foods? I have a Virtue of Persistence, so milling anybody... But they really want to mill themselves here. Giving us some excellent targets for this Virtue of Persistence. And more information on their deck. I'm actually going to tap you now. See what we got aside from this. We have a Wishing Well here. And I very much like that. I can cut that down. And then I draw. And then we well. And we well just so we can start pumping it up. We're not going to be reusing that cut down there. We just want to get those tokens on the Wishing Well.
I don't want to attack with GLARB because I value being able to surveil with it more. We need more fuel for the graveyards for our Virtue of Persistence to really stick through here. More farms. Or farmers, rather. Again, all the mana in the world, man. Okay, here we go. Each opponent loses X life, or X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Okay. We have to tap you. That's a lot. We can get rid of you, and we can get rid of you, to be honest. Because at this point, no, we can keep you. We take a hit there. Are they gonna sack those 3? They are. They mill more and more and more. So that's kind of like their strategies is revolving around that. They even have Greed's Gambit. What the hell? I just want to keep bringing back these farmers though, because these food tokens seem pretty useful, actually. Do we have... Okay, we can tap you. This Wishing Well can allow us to recycle that. Wait, did I tap... Wait, oh. Guys, I derped here. I tapped before playing the Curate. I misplayed there without even realizing. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's a bit rough. If we have a land on top, we can play it. Beautiful. Beautiful. They keep milling there. They can forage to pump everything, but we have blockers for this menace. And we just keep doing our thing. With this Virtue of Persistence. Okay, they're gonna forage. They're gonna forage in response. They're gonna forage in response. And we still cannot... we have the Wishing Well. Wait. So what we can do is we can tap you. We can play the Confounding Riddle, which allows us to... There we go. The cut down doesn't really hit much there. Like, I'm actually just going to be picking up the Yamivaya Coast, putting that there for the Virtue of Persistence next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could breach the multiverse as well, but that can enhance them. I kind of just want to... discard this because we both milled a lot, and me milling them, I don't feel like we need to do that. Those two can block into us. I'm gonna trigger the farmer here. I am gonna mill myself 3. Are they really gonna block with those two? Because if they give me those 2 bodies, yeah. Like, at this point, like, they were just basically, yeah, they didn't have much going on. Like, they had an interesting deck for sure, but they ran out of gas.
Seeing Greed's Gambit outside of like combos to trade it with something else is kind of wild. But it was definitely an interesting approach. Definitely an interesting approach at Squirrels for sure. Round 2. Man, Panther's got a sick ass avatar. That's a Phyrexian, right? We have very high land density. And we have this is a promising curve with GLARB into Wishing Well. We need to draw into lands to enable that. But I'm gonna let my optimism guide me. Surely we won't mana screw. In Magic the Gathering? Impossible. Let's go for the Underground Mortuary, even if we don't enable that. Let's drop that cut down there. We need lands. And it's not like we're being pressured by 1-drops anyways. Okay. They steal our GLARB. If they play GLARB, we'll kill it. No. Nice try. Nice try, bruh. But now I'm gonna go with the Wishing Well. We tap, we don't use the cut down here. But now next turn we'll be able to curate twice. Or just kill that. I'm gonna drop the Breach the Multiverse, to be honest. Am I? I need the land. How much do I need the land, actually, when I have a curate? I think I can get rid of the land here. If I find a land at the top with GLARB, I can actually play that. It's a bit of a risky play, but I'm going to go with it. We do get rewarded. And now I'm going to use the Wishing Well to recycle my Bitter Triumph. I'm going to tap the Wishing Well even though I have no targets for it, and I'm going to keep this Reenact the Crime so that if they try to do that again... I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna let this Glisa connect once. I really want them to continue to discard. They can't destroy the Wishing Well because it's an artifact, not an enchantment. That's kind of fine. Come on, hit me. Hit me! Hit me! Hit me!
A fight? And you think you can win?
Oh, you're gonna regret that.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
Ha ha! The counter! The counter, baby! Here we go! Oh, that feels good. They walk right into that. Let's get you. Let's get you. And let's get you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now we want the full mana to be open because we still want to be able to reenact the crime again. So let's tap this. Rework on it. There's the cut down. There's no target for that. But now we go for the Virtue of Persistence. We tap you. And we tap you. We get rid of you. And we get rid of you.
Sorry, I'm not interested in dying today.
Cool story, girl. Want to try that again?
I'll have this fight finished before brunch. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Don't care for it. That makes me sound a little bit sus, but you know. I want to play this Virtue of Persistence. I wanted to keep that counter for that. Maybe it was better to just drop this and think of that play at that moment. I'm going to tap you, and I'm going to play the Curate. I'm going to drop these two. Like, yeah, you can't blame them. Like, we have tremendous card advantage over them. Like, after that play, they're just not getting the Bandit's Town to pop off ever. And now they're afraid to discard from us because we just counter. I love this as a counter to all the discard shit running around, and I really wanted to showcase that in this video. And we did it on our second game, man. Ain't that beautiful? This thing, like, turn 2 was actually annoying. It's actually annoying. It's just an annoying archetype, attacking the hand all the time. But that's, you know, that's the beauty of Magic, man. There's so many options available. And some counters are not as obvious at first, but man, they're just sweet to play. Let's keep going. Okay. Roughneck. We're going to keep because we have a Curate and we have early interaction for aggression. So even though it's just a 2-lander, because we're going second and we got card draw and stuff, like I feel like this hand can actually be quite promising. We see a Fabled Passage turn 1 from them. Having the Malicious Eclipse is also nice in case they spread out. I really don't know what I'm facing. This could be Squirrels again. It is. Which makes this Malicious Eclipse amazing again. Let's drop this land of our way so we have the Eclipse enabled next turn, regardless of what land we play. We're going to take the hit, for the same reason as before. We want to get more value out of this. We want them to commit more. I'm actually going to keep both. They probably have some removal, though. So I'm going to play you instead. I don't like that Dark Slick Shores there. It's a bit late for that. But really just do not want to play into their obvious removal. Obvious removal is very obvious. Take the hit again, it's fine. Elemental. I'm gonna play the Wishing Well. It's hard for them to have an answer for this. Like, I'd expect more enchantment interaction than artifact interaction within this archetype specifically. And I'm gonna punish this passivity, like them trying to, like, you know, not overcommit with a snowbally card. It's just like, hey, if that's the only thing you're gonna be developing onto the board, then it's just not gonna cut it.
I can drop the Wave Rider, to be honest. They play Hopeless Nightmare. So this must be a deck with the snake. Taking a lot of damage from this. Can you develop something else, please? Thank you. God damn it, felt like you just were absolutely against it, man. We're gonna play the Curate here. Get rid of these two. We're trying to find some good substance here. Another Curate there. We're gonna go for this. And I'm gonna play the Underground River, so we have both 2-mana spells enabled. We Curate at the end. I like that counter spell very much, so I'm gonna keep that there. Now we tapping with the Wishing Well again to recycle the Eclipse. Keep wiping their board as we try to get into a situation where we are dominant in this game. The Hedge Maze allows me to develop the Calamity without that, but the Restless Reef allows me to apply pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we do here? No matter what, we need to keep our mana open for our instants this time around, so I am going to prioritize the green source of mana. That won't hurt me. With the Hedge Maze, while also surveilling. We have a Confounding Riddle there. Honestly, like, I am not against another one of those. Like, I believe these... Right now, especially because they only have 4 lands, like, these Confounding Riddles are extremely powerful. We can shut down most plays. Such as that one, to be honest. So it's a Squirrel deck, but even Squirrel decks are playing. I am so bored of MTG Arena players. Like, they just all do the same shit. With no sense of originality whatsoever. Y'all just bore me. Y'all bore me. Alright, GLARB, get in. With the Restless Reef, let's keep that there. We're not going to counter removal if they do have it. This Confounding Riddle is really, really important. Yeah, I'm going to counter that. Just because I know what I'm going to do here anyways. Like, I'm going to breach the multiverse. Look at that. Will you look at that? Alright. All Sultai colors, 2 sources of blue. It's always important to count the sources of blue because Reenact the Crime requires 3, so we're still missing 1. Some heavy end cards in hand, but ultimately, I think a keeper. Just because we have some early interaction. And you know, it's always important to have that because there's the chance of running into the mono red deck. I'm going to drop this Underground Mortuary now so that I could potentially play GLARB. Because I'm kind of inclined to do so here, seeing how they're a more slow-natured deck. I want to punish that and develop this guy on curve. When you play GLARB, you know, just make it a custom to just stop. You don't always have to like tap him here, but here I am thinking, okay, so is there anything that I could draw here that would gear? No, let's just do this. Let's just draw this. Let's play the hedge maze. Surveil that away. We have another land there. I'm definitely going to want to make use of my surveil effect here. So I'm going to pass. Okay. Very end of their turn. While also pausing here just in case. I don't feel like I need any of these. There we have the Reenact the Crime, which is actually an important draw here. Again, holding back. I can actually use Reenact the Crime to counter something. We have the Wishing Well there. But it may prove to be a bit slow for what we want to do here. Like, it's a bit late for it, so I'm just going to keep the Confounding Riddle. Or maybe I could just Reenact the Crime now. And just bring this back. Because then I'll be able to recycle that Reenact the Crime later. But having this Wishing Well here is actually very neat. I only have cut downs in my deck, so I just tap it for that. I want to keep playing lands. So I'm going to tap GLARB. So I can do just that. Now I could play Vraska. They could have some counter spells, but I also want to be able to counter this turn. Vraska does kind of give me... I can't leave myself wide open here. But his next turn was 6 mana. Am I afraid of a 6 mana play? I don't think so. And by playing Vraska here... I can draw a card, and I can also proliferate on the Wishing Well.
We know nothing of Hyraxia's plans.
Vraska gives us, like, something that they must answer. Now with 6 mana, like, am I afraid of their 6 mana play? And they shock to get rid of GLARB. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now is when we would want to have. We're gonna do this with Vraska. We're gonna proliferate on both here. This enables the Reenact the Crime. For just that mana. Though to be fair, I could just develop the Virtue of Persistence. If I do that, I still have the mana for that. So let's develop you. Let's get rid of that. Let us tap you. Tap you. Do that.
then tap you, reenact the crime, bring back Breach the Multiverse, and get to work. Get Roxanne in, and GLARB. And keep the mana open for the counter. Vraska is threatening as a win condition as well. Because we keep proliferating. But as long as we're just able to counter their big play, that's what I want. That's why this Confounding Riddle is absolutely essential. But that was a combo. That was a combo. That's why we play the Wishing Well, man. It's a neat card if you think about it. Like this deck is kind of wacky, man, but it does work. Like the pieces do come together, and it's so satisfying. It's just. Oh boy. They're thinking. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot going on here. We got a Vraska, like all of a sudden, like we've just punished their passivity. Because obviously they're a very greedy deck that's trying to get away with some huge plays. And we're not about that. Is there anything I can use these Mirrites for? Oh, wait, I can tap them for Ohm. Oh, wow. I can tap them for 2 mana? Okay, I can drop this Virtue of Persistence like it's nothing then. With 2 mana there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I can do that. And 1 more mana next turn allows me to have exactly enough mana to play Confound. I can play this and have mana open for this. Okay, Tails. All right. Are there any other tokens that we would want to generate here? Not really. So let's go for the card draw. Double Confounding Riddle is amazing. And at this point, it's kind of just what we need to focus on. We continue to build up this Wishing Well so that we can actually trigger it to reuse our well, actually, we don't have it. We exiled it. The Breach of the Multiverse. But if we get another one, we can play it from the graveyard. I think our opponent may just be salty and left. And I went on this like ramble. So I'm gonna shut up and see if that's the case. It was the case. Just level up. They got salty. And you know, I mean, I get it. It was a frustrating game, but it was a great game for us. We just, you know, that's why incorporating counter spells is always nice. Like this Confounding Riddle is just a fantastic card in this deck. And we just, you know, took our time, made sure we were aware when to be afraid of their plays, and otherwise just keep being proactive. And we have a bunch of different threats that are not easy to answer because it's just planeswalkers and artifacts and creatures. And the diversity of card types within the board makes it harder to wipe, ultimately. And that's also one of the traits this deck has. And yeah, I'm going on a TED Talk here for no fucking reason, so let's go for another one. Majalden. Bit of a lag going on here. Indie Company. Okay. This is a risky keep, but I'm going to follow my instinct and I'm going to keep it. Because if we're facing an aggressive deck, then we do have resources, and Reenact the Crime is a fundamental card here. We see them having Brotherhood's End with the mountains. Do we expect some counter spells from them? Okay, some counter spells, some buffs. We don't. They have Brotherhood's End, but they have Inties. It's kind of weird. This is like a weird mono red that I don't understand. Anything that's not a land here, I'm going to throw away. I really just don't want to throw away this bitter triumph here. Like, I wanted to commit something to it. I can just go for the Malicious Eclipse though. Reset the board, force them to commit more to it, even though I lose the ability to counter whatever they want to play. Like, this is like the weirdest mono red I've seen. It just seems so inefficient. Because they're running the Brotherhood's End, they're running Inti. They don't seem to have many combat tricks going on at all. Like, wait, what the hell? Are you trying to like reinvent this shit? What's going on here? I'm gonna go for this. And I'm gonna take that island. I need that. Just need that normal land that won't ping me. We have a lot of sources for the other ones. We don't have GLARB enabled, but at this point, honestly, I just want to make sure I got all the blue. I see what you're doing. I see very well what you're doing. They want to hit that so that they can, you know, pick off cards from it. On the other hand, probably should have picked up this green source earlier. Like, I think at one point I had the island and I picked it over the others. And I think that was actually a mistake. I'm gonna play GLARB now because if I have a land on top, I can play it. And that's a pretty big deal at this point. So they do have removal. Could you develop a little bit more onto this board? No? I'm gonna get rid of that. Just need one land to play. This matchup has been really weird. It's like a mono red, but it plays Brotherhood's End for some reason. That just doesn't make any sense. Same situation. We even ping ourselves one, because if we find that land, we're good to go. Took us a while. We can also enable the Reenact the Crime for just one life here. They could just start to burn us though. I still do not understand why they play that. But the fun fact is, I could reenact the crime here. Get back GLARB, but I just don't think that's even worth one life here. I think what I gotta do is quite simply this. Quite simply this. Into this. We pick up another Atraxa. We pick up another Reenact the Crime. We pick up you. And we pick up you. And we develop you. And we deal with you. This is the weirdest game I've had against mono red, like, in my life. Like, I do not understand. Can somebody explain to me this? I don't mean to be an asshole here. I really don't. I'm just really confused why this person is playing Brotherhood's End in a mono red deck. The reason why I'm confused for newer players or wondering what I'm going off about, this is an AoE board wipe. It deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, but they have a lot of like low cost creatures. So they seem to be running a full set of a card that fundamentally board wipes them. I guess if you add like prowess into account, but it does work with Felden in the sense that you pick up cards after he dies. It's not perfect synergy, but it does work. But then you have the NT, which I also seems is really out here. And overall, a take on mono red that no offense, but I can't really get behind. Toxic YouTuber. But you know, we actually got some climbing. I've been playtesting and stuff, and we dropped to Diamond Tier 3, but we're back to Diamond Tier 2. And whenever I have a session where I climb a rank with the deck, that is good enough for me. Very, very fun concept. You know, I love playing Reenact the Crime. Really fun to play now that there's all these discard decks running around. It's hilarious to watch, you know, them just develop their Thieves. I forgot the name, the 2-mana enchantment, or any sort of discard effect, and then you discard like your Breach the Multiverse or Atraxa, and then for 4 mana you bring it back. That shit never gets old, and I really wanted to try something a bit unique with your boy GLARB, who has tremendous potential from a deck building perspective, in my opinion, and also Wishing Well. Really wanted to showcase the potential synergy with Wishing Well and Reenact the Crime with a curve that's explicitly designed to play well into it. And I'm really proud of this deck. You know, like, I don't claim to be making tier 1 decks that are breaking the meta, but I think I'm making fun decks that you can climb with. You know, I use them to climb. Like, I'm not one of, like, I can guarantee you, this is 100% the truth. I do not take like meta decks and climb off camera. You know, I don't do that. You guys see that I'm the rank that I'm going through is the same. You know, like sometimes I even drop from one video to another because I've been playtesting decks. You know, and you got to take some losses when you do that. But I only exclusively climb with the decks that I make. I don't do that shit of just like, you know, like. Because, you know, I don't feel the need, especially as I get older, like, I don't feel the need to play decks that other people made that are already established. Like, you know, that's what we do here. We showcase that you can have fun homebrewing. You're not going to be breaking the meta every time. Like, if I'm making a deck every day. So if I make a deck every day and it's just, like, the best thing ever, then I'm a genius of, like, a generation or some shit. Unfortunately, I'm not. You know, I do think I'm quite creative, and I do think I am a good deck builder. But, you know, sometimes people, you know, kind of like I've ran into this, you know, in the past, like some like competitive players being like, oh, well, he makes a new deck every day and shit and all that. It's like, like I'm not hiding anything. I'm very proud of that in that sense. You know, like what you see here is what you get. Like I prepare a deck for a session, and if that session is successful, then that means the deck is ready for a video, and I upload the video. You know, sometimes I record a video and the deck is absolute trash, and I have to bail on the recording because I lost 4 games in a row. And it's like, okay, this deck is not ready. Let's make it better. So that's my process. I'm going on a weird ramble here, but I want to be open with you guys how things go here, and why I find what I do so rewarding ultimately. You know, I hope the few of you who watch enjoy. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird tangent to go on. I'm sorry about that, but all in all, I'm happy with the deck. Basically, all that rambling was to say that I'm happy with the deck, and happy with the video. And, you know, I got some mental hurdles to overcome. I feel like I could be a bit more entertaining, but hopefully you guys enjoy the content nonetheless. Love you. Have a solid day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.